the thumbnail. Trying to get that good thumbnail. Welcome to the call, everybody. Kimberly Denise here.
Yep. Welcome, everybody. Shawal, also known as Paul Gardner. And tune in. Feel refreshed as you watch this video. Realize that this video series is meant to wake you up, inspire you, empower you, get you into action, and set goals for yourself so you can have the transformation, the miracle blessings in your life. Because that is exactly why you were created. You were created to experience love, harmony, prosperity, abundance, and peace. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise, right? Don't let your employers tell you otherwise or anything like that. Now, before we continue and you watch this entire presentation, if you may, we're going to get back to the book series of the 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class by Steve Siebold. And our purpose and intention is to lead you on the path of that world-class thinking so then your behavior changes accordingly. Go.
Yeah, and I want to share briefly, today in our society and probably in world history, the amount of people that are dealing with mental health issues like depression, like postpartum depression, anxiety, all these different ailments and all these different labels that doctors or whoever wants to come up with and put on us. The amount of people that are dealing with that is crazy. And I guarantee, I don't really have this statistics. I'm going to look into it, but I guarantee that today in 2021, the numbers are higher than they've ever been, especially with all of the crap that's happening in the world and in society. And what's the solution, right? The solution that's going to be handed to you is you need a pharmaceutical medication. You need some type of a pill to take to regulate whatever's happening up there. And I'm going to tell you it's a bunch of crap. I'm going to tell you that what you really need, okay? Let me also say, if you're on something right now, it serves a purpose, right? But that doesn't have to be your end all be all cure or thing that you have to live with for the rest of your life. You don't have to look at the orange bottle and say, hey, I have to take this for the rest of my life to feel good or to be myself or to be normal. No, okay? So what is the real purpose of us sharing this information? Yes, we're going to help you learn how to go and create a great business. Yes, you can learn practical tips and strategies and things from people who have gone out and actually done the work and presented the proof through their life and what they've done, right? But at a deeper level, this information can transform you from the inside out. It can help you to create a new mindset and a new environment within yourself, in your mind and in your heart, to where you can just have a better quality of life and just enjoy existing in it.
Here's why,
right?
Because scientifically, you can actually prove that cellular regeneration happens in the fasted state, and it happens when you change your diet, you change your lifestyle. I recommend that you watch the documentary called Game Changers by former UFC professional fighter James Krause, where him and a group of scientists basically gather together and show all the ill effects of continuous meat consumption versus a plant-based diet, and how your blood is clearer and is able to have a non-fog effect in the vial between the blood and the plasma. In other words, people who eat meat, they tend to be slower, more sluggish, and the blood gets more tainted and more fogged, and therefore you're not able to perform as much as somebody who has their heart pumping properly, right? And this happens, and even for us, we've recently made that change. I've been vegan before, quit, went back, but now with, in the past few years dealing with some health scares, that has made me realize that, wow, maybe I really should consider quitting meat altogether, right? And so it's all about cellular regeneration. It's all about knowing what the human body is really made out of and what it's really all about, and really beyond the body, beyond the flesh, beyond the neurons, the veins, the arteries, right? Beyond all that, you are a spiritual body living in a human vessel. You are the infinite fractal light trapped into the body, and if you have a spiritual experience, if you can tap into the consciousness, tap into the universal consciousness of the Most High God. You can call it God, you can call it creation, you can call it universe. There's been many names for this supreme deity, right? which is a subconscious version of yourself, when you can tap into that and decide that you're no longer going to deal with health issues, you're no longer going to deal with stress issues or financial burdens, you're no longer going to deal with family that isn't on your same wavelength, you're going to raise a higher standard. You're not going to deal with maybe you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, you're not going to deal with just working with everybody. You're going to limit your time and your availability to just working with a very few. I remember a time where we were producing as a team, just us alone, we were doing about 60 to 90 customers a month on average, and our team was doing about 100 plus new customers a month. And that sounds great, selling low, medium, high ticket sales, but when you don't have a filtering process, right? When you don't have a qualification process, when you aren't able to look at your client or your friend or your business partner or your family member in the eye and tell them the truth, then you're gonna have a hard time, because when you acquire a whole bunch of customers, you acquire a whole bunch of problems, right? More money, more problems is that one quote that they always say, but it doesn't have to be that way. Or opportunities, right? It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way for you.
Uncomfortable opportunities.
Understand that customer acquisition is actually the simplest thing that you can do in 2021. Making money today is actually even easier online in 2021 than it ever was in the past before. You are at a unique opportunity of quantum growth, quantum possibilities. You're able to have a conversation with someone in a 30-minute lunch, and they can give you advice that can radically transform your business. And then in 30 days, everything changes. In 30 days, you might be thinking about transitioning from where you are now into another location or into another house, or you might be thinking about launching that program that you've been thinking about launching for a long time and you haven't. Maybe you've been thinking about starting a business, but you haven't had the encouragement. This video series is going to help empower you into implementation, right? This is not like another live stream where you just waste time and think that you're just going to get some word play or word value. We're going to teach you world-class implementation that not just we've implemented in our lives for the past 10 plus years, but also the world-class implementation that the very best in their specific industries are doing. So then you can match and model the behavior of the very best and get a similar result. That's usually how I found success to come, is when you model other successful people. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't sit there and think that you have to be a know-it-all. You don't have to be. Just search the resources out.
Tony Robbins explains, I really like his definition or his explanation on what depression really is. And he talks about how in the number of people that he has worked with, and he's worked with a ton, he's a coach, a performance coach, a mindset coach that has worked with just thousands of people, right? Every single time he works with depressed people, it's always because there's a lack, it's a stagnation. It's like a state of stagnation. It's a state of the person wants to be accomplishing something, and they want, we're created as creative beings. We want to be in a state, just like nature is. Nature is constantly, is a cycle of creation, right? It's a cycle. And if that gets stopped by something along the way somewhere, and we're not progressing, so the people that he worked with, every single one of them had a lack of progression somewhere in their life. Maybe it was in their marriage, maybe it was in their health, maybe it was in their business, maybe it was just personally, they just lost, they're like, I don't know what I want to do. And you stop progressing. Anytime that you stop progressing, you start regressing. You're either doing one or the other. Mm-hmm. That's actually growing one of the natural laws. You are either, you're growing or dying, you're moving forward or you're going backward. There's no staying put in one place. You're going in one direction. So on a deeper level, when you start to learn about these states or these labels or these diseases or these illnesses or whatever you want to call it, you learn that there's deeper reasons why you're dealing with it. And when you start to explore that information, needless to say, what I'm saying is there's a deeper purpose of this call.
Eastern mysticism is the true. Let me say this: Eastern mysticism is the true Christianity. For those that are spiritual and believe in something, you got to bridge where Christ originally was and understand that all his people, all the Israelites, all the people that were always disciples of the truth, kings, the high priests, people that were in tune with nature. They were teaching the same thing, right? And there's a lot to overcome because there's a lot of false doctrine that controls whole economies. The doctrine controls stocks. Like, people are investing in stock based on the confidence that stock is going to return on investment, right? So wouldn't you want to get a return on your own time, money, energy, and resources and passion? Like, You're a human being with breath, just like me, just like my wife, just like anyone that's walking on the planet that's successful, whether they're a billionaire, whether they're, you know, a 9-figure earner, whether they got Fortune 500 companies, they got 25 businesses worldwide, they got thousands of employees that they're managing. They all have universally the same type of principles, and I want to go ahead and just, you know, because again, I can rant all day because I'm just so passionate about this subject. So another quote, 6 right here?
Yep.
Okay. The great managers and leaders, yes. Champions lead through facilitated introspection. Okay, champions lead through facilitated introspection. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The great managers and leaders of the future will know more about their people than ever before. They'll know their emotional hot buttons as well as the essence of what makes them tick. Through facilitated introspection, these leaders will create a competitive immunity for their companies by reigniting the flame of loyalty that burns within their people. Steve Siebold, you can hit that wave right there. Hey. Grand rising to all of you that are coming on now and watching this video as well. If you're watching this now, let us know where you're watching this from. If you have a website, if you have an opportunity that's genuine and helpful and you want to share it with our network, feel free to do so. This thread is here to help collaborate with you. All great leaders know that the most effective form of learning is self-discovery. World-class coaches and managers believe in facilitating the introspective process, which helps people rediscover what they already know. Instead of leadership through the outdated command and control, do it or you're fired model, progressive managers are constantly asking their employees questions and taking careful note of their answers. The great ones know that most people are unaware what makes them tick in their terms of their emotional motivators. The only way to help a person, however, is to discover the hidden power locked up in their own psyche through asking probing questions. You want to read here?
Yeah, sure. Learning occurs at 2 levels during this introspective process. The first level is when the person digging down inside himself becomes aware of the emotions driving his behavior, and then the second is the manager's awareness as it relates to which buttons to push when it's time to motivate his charge to action. Amateur coaches and managers coach primarily through logic. Professional coaches and managers coach primarily through emotion. Since human beings are primarily emotional creatures, it's obvious which method has the most power. Facilitating the introspective process in another person requires patience and time, and the great ones are willing to invest. The amateur wants instant results, but pros know this rarely occurs. The payoff for the pro comes not only in the form of increased productivity, but also in the connection created between manager and employee. Once an emotional creature is convinced that you care about what she thinks and how she feels, it sets the stage for emotional bonding to occur. Managers and leaders who lead this way lose very few of their people to rival companies because of this bond. Mm-hmm. In the age of the mind, facilitated introspection is the core process of leadership. That's really cool.
You got any feedback to share with?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, some people might be able to relate this to, you know, if you're in a network marketing, direct sales business, maybe you've been in network marketing for years and years and years, and you're like, you know, I've just never been able to just create that team. You know, like I create a little bit of sales for myself. I got a couple people that hop on board and they create a little bit of sales, but I've never been able to create that, you know, like create a situation where I'm a leader. I'm able to lead a tribe of people, and maybe that's what you want to do, right? So this is really powerful for that because, you know, for example, you know, there's many people that I study in the space, and there's one woman in particular that stands out to me because and this is exactly what she does. She talks about how like she goes deep within like each and every person, whether they join at the very beginning level and the smallest package to they buy the biggest package. She treats everyone equally and knows that each person has an equal potential. And professionals in this industry also understand that usually the people that start to do big numbers and it's not the frilly person or the professional person or the person that looks the greatest or anything. It's usually not those people who you think are going to like, oh, they're gonna hit it big. They're gonna be a leader. They're gonna be the one that's the producer on my team. It's the one you least expect that does. So how do you dig that out of people though? It's through taking this place in this position of leadership and digging that up out of people.
I want to add to what we just read here too, because when people don't care what you know, people only care if you care about them.
If they don't care about what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can have the best product or service. You can have the best sales script. You can have the best intentions and motivations. But if you don't have the ability to convey your integrity, if you don't have the ability to convey your nobility behind why you do what you do, like why is it that you're trying to network and connect with an individual? Why are you sharing their product or service with them? Is it because you're just trying to make another quick dollar? Or is it because you have a mission, and is it because you care about people and you care about that person and you genuinely want to discover that person? Or see, a great CEO, and this is from another book, one of the Starbucks books that we've been reading too, is, you know, Starbucks knows the coffee that you want, they write your name on it, and then they call you by name, and if you have kids with you, often they'll go out of the way and they'll call your kid's name as well, right? If they got coffee too. So what does that mean for internet marketing, network marketing, affiliate marketing, coaching, consulting, or maybe you're starting for the first time? It means that you got to actually know who your clients are, whether they do business with you or not, because it's a competitive advantage, right? And it's not, you're not just doing it for the competition advantage, although that is the byproduct of that. It's the kind thing to do. It's like you have to care beyond what you're doing the business for. Like, you have to care about your customer beyond like the initial transaction. You have to realize like you have the ability to transform somebody's complete life and completely stop them from committing suicide, stop them from jumping off that bridge that they keep talking about jumping off of, or stop them from committing a crime or hurting somebody else or hurting themselves, stop them from going down that rabbit hole of guilt, pain, and suffering and disease, but rather transforming their mind, having a spiritual renewal, and then the body will follow.
That's cool. You know, I wanted to point out something over here. It says, since human beings are primarily emotional creatures, it's obvious which method has the most power. Because it talks about the contrast of an amateur coach or amateur leader or amateur person, right, or professional, and somebody who is a professional. They lead emotionally instead of logically. And emotions, when you think about, okay, emotion or a feeling, it's really energy, right? It's a form of energy. So even coming to that realization of like, oh, okay, I need to get more energy based. I need to learn more about who it is that I am beyond this physical body and my name and who I am as a human being. When you can relink yourself to that connection of who you are spiritually and who you are and who others are energetically, it just, every single thing or every single interaction, every single whatever it is that you're setting out to do begins to change, because you're working from an invisible place rather than working from a place that's already visible and physical. I don't know how many people really understand what I'm saying.
They're going to understand that because
I'm trying to convey.
No, what you're trying to convey is faith is the evidence of the things hoped for, right? What is that scripture that says that?
Evidence of what's not seen.
Evidence of what is not seen, right? So when you say you're working from the invisible, you're really working from the source. You're working from the creator. You're literally allowing God to work through you. Just put it in very simple terms.
Yeah. That's when you're allowing God to work through you and say words through your mouth and do things with your hands and say the right thing to that person that needs. Yes, God speaks to us individually in our own way, right? Through, some might hear audible voices, his audible voice. Some might hear or feel a certain thing. You describe it as a feeling. But in a more common way, it's through each other, through words. Like you experience the love of God through allowing the love of God to flow through you.
The character.
The complete character, the fruits of the Spirit. It all flows through you and into the life of someone else. So that's why it's important to be aware and conscious of this higher level of existence, higher level of leading.
Here's the reality. Nobody's going to come and work hard for you. Nobody's going to come and give you the world and commit their life to just making you happy. Okay? Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's on their own struggle. But just like nature collaborates. Nature is not selfish. Nature gives fragrance and seed so it can pollinate other parts of the land, so it can continue flourishing, and then seed and crops grow from the ground, right?
Yes.
And the whole sustainability of life is, you can just look at nature, and we have to align with universal law. We have to align with natural law. And we're going to get clear on what those laws actually are, right? As you continue watching this video series, we're getting to a junction point where as light, as truth, as awareness arises, right? Just like the disciples in the past has always talked about, being in a holy communion with the Father is not being in a holy communion with a man that sits on the clouds and judges you according to your behavior patterns, right? That's just the anthropomorphic version of what has already been taught. The reality is that getting in alignment with the Creator, who exists within every creature, is actually being in alignment with the heart, with the laws of the universe and the known universe and the known natural creation space. In other words, you have to know what those laws actually are in order to make sure that you're operating on those laws, like laws of sowing and reaping, laws of cause and effect, law of mentalism, law of polarity, law of gender, right? What, any other laws? I know I'm missing maybe like one other one.
Compensation.
Law of compensation. See, when we actually push our egos to the side and we say, okay, what are these laws? How can I apply my life to these laws? Then all of a sudden your vibration changes, your frequency changes, your energy changes, everything changes. So you can't look back at your life like Lot's wife at all the mistakes of the past. You can't sit there and think, oh, I'm gonna condemn myself forever because of the mishaps or missing out on your goals. Now you're no longer chasing your goals because maybe you're older and you think, oh, my career or my youth is over. I have nothing else to live for. Right? I was talking to an uncle of mine who's in his like 70s and 80s. He's already hoping for death. He has nothing else to live for. That's his mentality, right? Little did he know he can use his creative resources to do big things. But sometimes most people are in that place because they don't know themselves and they don't have a relationship to the Creator. Therefore, how can they ever have a relationship with themselves, let alone with the universal power, cosmic power? Go ahead.
Cool. So we're going to hop into the action step for today, and I kind of already jumped ahead and skimmed as you were explaining that, but I have something that I think is valuable and powerful to share about it. This is bothering me. Let me just fix this little thing real quick. If you don't have EMF protection and some form of, start getting devices that are going to protect you from this 5G stuff. Hopefully I can say that in this video.
Straight back.
I'm just real comfortable right now and relaxed. But all right, so it says, invest 20 minutes today leading someone through the introspective process. Your first question should be, tell me what you really want out of life more than anything else. Your goal should be to make the person comfortable enough to answer you in terms of how she feels rather than how she thinks or he. Once he or she begins to explain their feelings, follow up with these questions. What exactly do you mean by that? What does that look like? Why do you feel that way? Tell me more about that. Why is that important to you? And what does having that mean to you? So you can lead yourself through that process. You can go to a spouse. You guys can help each other through that process. If you have business partners, I encourage you to do that. But one of the coolest things that I learned, being in this industry, I've been in the home business / network marketing / direct sales industry now for, really since I discovered it, like really a long time. Yeah, like 14 plus years, right? And everybody knows, or everybody thinks that they know what sales is. Or if you hear the word sales, you think, oh, okay, you're selling somebody something. But what is sales really? Sales is, on a deeper level, it's helping a person, right, understand the benefits, understand the way that your product, your service, or whatever it is that you're offering is going to get them from where they are now to where they want to be. And so there's lots of different processes that you can use. You can be real strategic and real carnal with it and have scripts and have little tricks and study people who have all these things,
use
right?
AI completely, right?
To sell somebody on something, right?
Yep. That's
not the way that I prefer, really. And I actually learned this from him. And he, when I first met him, he was having a lot of success we were in the same company, but didn't know each other. And he was having a lot of success and results. He had the results that I wanted in my personal business. We were not partnered up yet in the business at that time. And I noticed that he did the same thing with every single customer, every single prospect, and I watched him prospect people through social media, and he had the same process. He would walk them through, not here's how good the product is, and here's why it's amazing, and here's this feature, and this fact, and this feature, and this fact. It was asking the person who expresses an interest in what you have, asking them these deeper questions to find out what is the real reason why this is something that's going to actually benefit your life. If you can get to that core in a conversation, if you could learn how to get someone from let me understand why you're interested in this product. What's the real reason why? You know, if somebody wants to earn $10,000 a month, right? It's not because they want the pile of money. It's because they want what the money is going to get for them. They're not going to get the money and put it away in their closet. They're going to use and exchange the money for something else. So find out what are those things, because people don't just want money. People want experiences. People want a higher quality of living. People want to go places. People want to solve problems in their life. That money is the tool of solution for them, right? So if they've got health conditions, you know. So anyways, back to this process. I watched him walk someone from, oh, I want to make $10,000 a month to, at the end of it, they're crying with tears down their face. You know, I really just want to make sure that, you know, my husband can be at home with me and our children. We can actually be a family so that we don't get this divorce that we're thinking about and talking about. Or, you know, those deep reasons. So if you could,
it's like peeling an onion layer.
Exactly.
Being able to hit that core motivator is what's going to get people to take action in that moment, because nothing else matters.
And then you hold the power as a leader and as somebody who, you have the product, you have the service, you have that vessel that can get them there. So then that does two things, right? It puts them in a place of being clear and knowing the deeper reason why they need the product or why they need the service. Then it elevates you to a higher form of leadership, because you now know what that person's core reason is for working. And then you yourself now you have an obligation. Now it's more than sales. You have an obligation to help that person understand why yes is the right decision, or why now is the right time to get involved. Why right now is the right time to buy the product, right? Not because, oh, you want to make a commission. Oh, because you know for a fact now, you discovered this information, you dug it up out of this person, you know that it's going to improve their life. So you have the obligation of getting them to make the decision to say yes and move forward with you.
Have you read this right here yet?
That was yesterday.
Okay.
This was today.
We just got
the chunking exercise. Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Any last words for our listeners?
No, I would just remind, as we go through, do the action steps, right? Do it. If you have to do it by yourself and with yourself, do it. Learning alone and taking in the information isn't going to do anything at all, because you can gain and gain and gain, and you can know a whole lot of stuff, but if you don't move forward and actually do and actually
I'm gonna say this. It's not gonna
change.
I'm also gonna say this too, right? You might be an entrepreneur or somebody that understands business, or maybe you've been savvy for a while and you've had success, or maybe you're brand new and you've never done it before. You got to have a great team. Every single successful entrepreneur has a rock solid team, and a team that they like working with, right? Because the values are all aligned, because they all want the same things, and they're all genuinely interested in helping other people. Because when you're genuinely interested in helping other people, you put other people's successes before your own. It's like, that's how you get successful. It's like when you invest into your marketplace, whatever business opportunity that you have, it'll just flourish because you're going out of your way to invest into a marketplace that is underserved, and you're going into that industry and serving them better than everybody else. And that is how you rise to the top. That's actually how you get to your first 5 figures monthly, because 99% of people who are in these industries, according to statistics, they're failing miserably, right?
Yeah, Ziglar, a quote from Zig Ziglar, he says, "A perfect, right, for this, any industry really, but this specific industry is, you're not going to get to your goal by building a business. That's not what gets you the goal. It's building the people that build the business, right? So you're investing your time. You may not have known. You may have thought, oh, I got into this home business opportunity, or I'm an affiliate of this product or whatever, but little do you know that it's going to come from actually investing time.
Investing and building people, building leaders and developing entrepreneurs, building a community, and investing into that community and taking them to the next level, right? And a lot of times you may end up working with a lot of new people who are fresher and are not destroyed by the industry of itself, because there's been a lot of people who have been destroyed by these industries because of the false expectations of no work, bad leadership, or, again, it really just does come down to leadership.
Lottery mentalities. I mean, there's a lot of
leadership aspects. And leadership, right education. So yes, investing into leadership development for your community is the most critical thing that you can possibly do, right? You can start your children to learn leadership skills even at 4 years old, right? They can launch a business by the time that they're 6, because they've been spiritually taught how to think like an entrepreneur and a solution-oriented person, that by the time that they're 6, they have their own businesses already. You can do that. Nobody, this 9 to 5 indoctrination system, the indoctrination of the education system, they didn't teach you and I this. They didn't teach our families this. You had to become self-educated to learn this stuff, right? So if you're watching this now, I want to tell you we appreciate you. If you made it to the end, congratulations. You're going to continue to get value on this book journey that we're going through.
Yep, drop us your key takeaway in the comments. Share it with somebody if you got some value, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central. Same time, same channel. Bye.